Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I've got a guest today who is another incredible proven Amazon course success story. He also loves 3P Mercury, building a beautiful business. Man, I just can't believe the number of people who keep popping up saying this software, this strategy is changing our lives. Bob's just the latest. He's built a multiple five-figure business running at great profit margins. He describes, as you'll hear very soon, that this business is now a two-step system for him. Now, get this, he's been doing e-commerce and Amazon specifically since 2010. He gave up and restarted 3 times. He threw in the towel in frustration and quit 3 times. The most recent time, however, now, you'll hear him describe in his own words very soon, he is thrilled with the simplicity of it, the scalability of it, how stress-free it is, because he's following the simple two-step process that we teach now. What is that process? Well, you hear us talk about it quite a bit in the episode, but let me just give you a little sneak peek if you haven't heard it yet. The process is you find products anywhere, everywhere, retail stores, online, wholesalers, distributors, it doesn't matter. You can use scrapers, you can use any kind of tools you want, you can use Keepa, you can storefront stock. There's literally about 80 different ways that you can find products. You dump all those products, not physically, but the ASINs, the code for those products, you dump them all into software called 3P Mercury. That's step one. Find products and dump them in. Step two, you let the software tell you what to buy. That's what Bob's doing. He describes it today beautifully. You've heard a whole bunch of other people in our show describing it as well. Hey, if you're ready to get started and do this business and you want to be handheld by a mentor on our team who can walk you through the whole process so you can go further faster, we'd love to talk to you. You can contact us at silentjim.com/book a call. There's a phone number there. You can text us or you can hop on our calendar. Let's have a Zoom session if you prefer that. We'd love to meet you and map out your best path forward, even if you just use our free resources to get your business going, or maybe some of our low-cost training or some of our coaching options. Let's have a conversation, though, so we can answer all those questions and get you going, just like what you're going to hear from Bob today. Some of the frustrations that Bob had, you might be curious as I'm kind of breaking down this episode a little bit before we get into it. He got into bundling. He was in books. Some of the policies, some of the fees, they frustrated him. Some of the great ASINs, those great products that he was selling, they got shut down by Amazon. He was very frustrated. But he says today, and you'll hear him in a minute talking about it, how glad he is that he came back for a third try. And I think the reason he came back is because he loved, trusted, and respected this community enough. He saw that we were still thriving, cranking out great podcast episodes with successful stories of our students from the proven Amazon course training. Hey, he said, I'll give it another shot. He jumped in, he got coaching. The rest is history, as you're about to hear. He's hoping to do about $60,000 in sales in December. Great profit margins, like I said, and it's the simple two-step system that he only works a few hours a day, a couple hours, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And he doesn't even have to do that. That's just so he can continue scaling his business to new levels. Well, enjoy this episode. And you're going to, Bob and his wife, their plans right now, they want to travel. They're going to stick their business in their pocket. I love that part of the story today where he talks about, hey, that's their plan. They want to be able to go wherever they want to go in the world and keep their business up and running. That's exactly what we teach here. You can build that system, put in the work. Well, we can help build a beautiful business that you can be proud of, and you can scale it however big you want to make it. Well, let's jump in and hear from Bob today. Enjoy this. All the resources that we're going to talk about today are listed in the notes with this episode. So if you hear a software, a tool, or a resource mentioned, there's links to everything. Just check the resources near this video or audio, depending on how you're checking this out. We've got that all spelled out for you there. All right, let's jump into it with Bob Frank. So, Bob, thanks for joining me today. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Jim.
I'm excited to get into your story if you're ready to go.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. The ball is in your court.
Okay. Well, I my Amazon story started in 2010. Actually, I've been around quite a while now. I was an affiliate of Amazon. I had websites. I sold ads essentially. And somebody just mentioned somewhere along the line, hey, you got to try selling books on Amazon. So, well, that's cool. Back in 2010, that was about all Amazon had. They were just starting to expand into other areas, but they were really known as a bookseller.
Right.
And it was a good profitable business there for quite some time. I mean, books were easy to find. They were cheap. Geez, you could store them at FBA for a year without getting any kind of storage fees. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good time. But my wife and I did that together. We traveled the countryside. We found getting out, in the rural areas, you could find more books, better books. But the problem was that's a pretty inefficient way of running a business when it's all said and done. I mean, we were driving all over creation and got a little tired of that rat race. So 2012, I think it was 2013, I went to a conference, Amazon sales conference. I don't think you guys are doing conferences yet, but at any rate, I was at this conference and somebody had mentioned that I had to read your book. It might have been Nathan. Nathan and I were reminiscing here a while back, and we were both at the same conference. It might have been him. I don't know, because we knew a lot of the same people. But anyway, somebody mentioned your book. And so, I read it and I was actually fascinated. I mean, you and I have kind of a similar pre-Amazon background, both in the corporate world selling computer related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that brought me to the Proven Amazon course. So I was there pretty much in the early years. And this was point number one. I'm going to talk about 3 times I started over in Amazon. This was the first time I went from books. I pretty much just jettisoned the books and started doing groceries and toys and tools, mostly retail arbitrage. And a lot easier than doing books. Didn't have to drive so much. But a year or two into that, I wanted to enhance the business, and you had started your coaching business. I don't know if you started about that time. That's about the time I really uh, became aware of it, and so I did. I signed up for coaching. I think this was 2016, perhaps, but that really changed everything for me. I went from onesie, twosie retail arbitrage to actually doing a lot more online and doing bundles. This in 2016, bundles were, well, it's totally different. It was much easier back then. You could bundle almost anything with anything. And if you just had a way of figuring out what might sell, what the customer is really looking for, uh, you could make some really good money. And so the coach that I had helped me to understand how to do that and how to create an advertising campaign. And so that's what I did for several years. Grocery bundles. Things are great. I created my own listings. I take 2 different flavors of Starbucks coffee, for example. Maybe put a Starbucks mug in with it or a travel mug or something. Put my own barcode on it. I bought it eBay, and voila, I had my own listing. So I had nearly 300 of those when I think it was 2018 rolled around and Amazon brought the hammer down on me. They decided that those barcodes from eBay weren't good enough. You had to have them from GS1. So almost overnight, felt like overnight, my whole catalog was pretty much gone. So now starting over number 2. And about that time, IP complaints had really started to become commonplace. And prior to that, I don't know about if you remember or not, but I don't think prior to 2015, I don't think I had many. At least I don't remember them.
Yeah.
But boy, they became, it felt like constantly. It was probably 2 or 3 a month, but man, they were frustrating. It takes up a lot of time. I didn't have a good system. I didn't have a Jeff Schick. I don't know if he was offering his services back then. If he did, I didn't know about it. So I had no legal representation at all. I'm trying to figure out, what's real and what's just, some competitor blowing smoke. So I had all this stuff going on. And in the process, I was rebuilding my bundled business. All those previous bundles, I had to throw them out. Amazon wouldn't let me just smack a new UPC code on the existing. I had to throw it all out. So all the goodwill all the feedback, all the money that I invested in advertising up in smoke. So anyway, I was up to 20 or 30 more bundles and developing a really bad attitude. For whatever reason, I ended up unplugging from the pack community about that time, which, looking back on it now, was really pretty stupid.
Okay.
Because really, I mean, without that kind of interaction, we're kind of lonely voices in the wilderness here if we don't have a team of some sort or people you can talk to.
True.
So all the problems just seem to be worse and worse. And then COVID hit. So 2020, that was the final straw for me. COVID hit, if you recall, and I think it was April of 2020, Amazon sent out a message, any FBA sellers, they're not going to accept anything in the FBA warehouses unless it's considered essential.
Right. Which
And
was never clearly defined, but
no, it's never clearly defined. But my little grocery bundles, with Starbucks travel mugs,
Mhm.
that apparently wasn't essential. At any rate, I decided right then and there I was gonna take everything out of FBA. I was just going to merchant fulfill what I got, my 24 bundles. I'm not going to grow. Jeff Bezos is out to get me. I don't know why. So that's what I did. 2020, I put everything on cruise control and just fulfilled what few orders I got and pretty much left it alone. Well, fast forward to 2023, Christmas time about, my wife and I had hit our retirement age. And so we were collecting retirement income, but we realized pretty quickly that what looked like good retirement income a few years back is nowhere near as good as we thought it was. So we wanted a supplement. And we finally came to the conclusion, geez, let's look at Amazon again. Maybe it's improved some. So I went around Christmas of 2023. I plugged back in. I started listening to the podcast again. Hadn't listened to one since 2019, I think, something like that. Anyway, first podcast out the door, it was Brian and Robin Olson, who I hadn't met or ever talked to before, and they had this totally radical idea of selling above the buy box, which initially I thought was absolutely preposterous. You can't do that. But yeah, I listened to them and they made a good case. I thought, boy, that's interesting. Replens with above the buy box. Okay. But the real kicker for me was when you brought Jeff Schick on, same podcast, right? At the end, you had a little, I don't know, 2-minute blurb with Jeff Schick. And all of a sudden, the light went on in my head here because he was talking about for a retainer fee, very small retainer fee. All of a sudden, I got legal representation. I got somebody that can tell me, you can ignore this one, you better answer this one. This is how you answer it. So that's what really got me going. So early 2024, my wife and I, we decided, okay, we're going to rebuild. Unfortunately, the first thing we had to do was get rid of almost all our bundles because Jeff's people indicated to me that we were violating Amazon's terms of agreement because they were branded mismatched. Right?
Mhm.
So down to one product now. It was a private label product that I made in 2017 and was selling pretty well, but that's all I had. So we started over number three. Yeah. And we were building it gradually. I mean, we still had the mindset. This is a supplemental business. We don't want a full-time gig. We don't want to work too hard. We're supposed to be retired. So it was growing slowly but surely. And we went to the Proven Conference in May of 2024. And that changed everything. I bumped into Nathan in the hallway. We hadn't talked in 7 years. And so I was telling him what was going on. Yeah, I got the one private label product. It's doing pretty well. And this is what it's like. And, and he said to me, well, that sounds pretty good, except for you're in danger of losing that. He pointed out to me, you're not brand registered. You didn't trademark your brand name. You didn't trademark your logo. And later on, he showed me, your bullet points aren't right. Your title isn't right. So I was getting by, doing pretty well, but I was vulnerable. So he said, why not sign up for coaching again? I'll help you with your private label product. Let's get that solidified. And then he says to me, I'll plug you into Brian and Robin also. I go, cool. And so that's what we did. And boy, did he help me, because that whole brand registry process and trademarking and all that is very complicated. And I certainly wouldn't want to do that by myself. So he did that for me, which was great. And he plugged me into Brian and Robin, who helped me better understand how to do the reclens. And at the same time, I joined the beta group for 3P Mercury.
Right.
Now, at that point, I don't know if it was even called 3P Mercury yet.
I think we were still calling it the system back
It was
then.
not system, yeah. So, but it was cool. I got in on the ground floor of that and essentially was kicking the tires on that for 3 or 4 months. I didn't really buy into the whole process until October, about a year ago, when I finally said, I got to do this. I either got to focus on it or do something else because I'm just kind of doing halfway measures. So I cut over completely. I bought into the whole process, which again really made a difference in my business because we talk with 3P Merger, we talk a lot about the ability to harvest ASINs, as I call harvest ASINs, being able to keep them all in one spot and be able to bring them up easily. The less glamorous part of 3P Mercury is the whole process from purchase to shipment to reconciliation and all that. I never liked doing that kind of stuff before. I was never a paperwork guy, So, but 3P Mercury, if you follow it, if you do it right, I mean, it's simple, it's easy to do, and it keeps track of stuff for you.
Yes,
I have no idea how much inventory I might have lost because I wasn't keeping track of stuff coming in the door.
Yep.
It's not very well. Well, 3P Mercury essentially does that. And so it follows the process from, as I say, beginning to end. And then it has a spot where you can keep track of your essential paperwork, the invoice and then maybe the packing slips or whatever else goes along with it. So when and if you get an IP complaint or any kind of problem, in a matter of a few seconds, you can bring up the required paperwork and off you go. It's easy.
Right.
Way back in 2018, when I was trying to find those receipts from 3 months earlier, and I didn't have any system, I had piles of paper here and piles of paper there. And so anyway, that really helped my business. And of course, the ability to store and get to ASINs.
Filter.
Yeah, filter ASINs. And that really made a difference. So I was gradually filling up my 3P Mercury database. I probably had 200 or 300 by the time the next Amazon conference rolled around this past year. Sat down with Brian, and he showed me several ways of speeding up the process using the tools I already had. I mean, what he does, you go into Keepa, you put a few filters together to what you want, take that output and transfer it to something like Repetto, which I was using, but you can use Tactical Arbitrage or Arbisource or Arbitrage Hero, I think. But anyway, I was using the pedal, but then the pedal finds the source for those ASINs, and now you can take that and transfer it into 3P Mercury, where it'll sit until you need it. So instead of adding a dozen or so ASINs a month, I was adding 1,000 ASINs a month. Well, I'm up to 30,000 now.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's really kind of neat how the whole system works. And I'm just going to keep adding them as they go along because I've got these processes I didn't have before. Brian came up with a couple real good ones. Jimmy Smith with the Evergreen sourcing system, I plugged into that, and he's got 60 of them, I think.
Yeah, 60 ways to find ASINs in bulk. Yeah. I'll stick a link to all this in the show notes for people if they're writing down notes furiously. But yeah, there's so many creative ways to find great ASINs now.
Oh, it really is. It really is. So in last summer, June or so, my business really started taking off. I mean, I was growing 30% a month there for a while. And it's because I just had more ASINs. It's not really a complicated business when you get right down to it. I mean, you just need the systems and the mindset in place to be able to get it done.
Yeah. Would you agree with the statement that it's basically 2 steps now? You find ASINs and load them into 3P Mercury, and then let the software tell you what makes the most sense to sell.
Yeah.
That's step 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a guy who's been doing this since 2010, sounds like it's making a lot more sense and running smoother than it ever has before for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wish I wouldn't have unplugged way back in 2019. I would have been a lot better off. And there's a lot of people in this community that did very well during COVID, right?
Oh, yeah. Very
even though
few
it
of us
looks,
didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it looks so bleak in
Yeah.
March of 2020.
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation March, April of 2020 with Jimmy Smith, and we were both very concerned. Just are we teaching the right strategy? Is this going to survive COVID? What's the net result going to be? Are people still going to be spending money? Is Amazon shelves going to go so bare that people ignore it? Or are we going to be able to find any inventory? And we were both saying, okay, God, maybe we're putting this in your hands. Take care of this community and guide us as leaders and help us make good leadership decisions. Jump forward 2, 3 months later, and everyone is just killing it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we're the ones willing to get out, get in our car, go to the store. Okay, you want me to wear 18 masks on my face? Sure, I'll put on my hazmat suit and go shop. But we were doing it. And we were filling the shelves at Amazon's warehouse network, unlike anyone else could or was able to. And just, it was like printing money. So people who started then, it was interesting, Bob, they had this perspective that like, yeah, basically I just go to the store and I clear a shelf into my cart and I bring it home and I make profit. And if it's ever like that, then I don't like it anymore. So a lot of people like, as soon as it became a little bit of work required to make money, they said, it's not like it used to be. But I love your perspective of, I think it's better than it used to be now. Except for that brief 6 to 8 month window where, the only way you could buy anything was on Amazon.
yeah.
Now we've got the tools and resources that you mentioned, 3P Mercury being one of them. And Amazon is just so much more consistent. Hey, pardon the interruption for just a moment, but I've got to thank our sponsor, Seller Board. How do you know if you're making money online as a reseller? Seller Central will show you your revenue, but it doesn't capture all the details, the refunds, the shifting fees, changing supplier prices, overhead. Well, that's why a lot of smart sellers are using Seller Board. silentjim.com/numbers is where you can go to check them out. It's the profit analytics software that's built to keep your numbers straight. Seller Board reconciles every sale and expense in real time. And with FIFO accounting, first in, first out, that means your profit reports stay accurate even when your cost of goods change from batch to batch. It now works with Walmart as well, so you can see your margins across both platforms all in one place. Here's the game changer as well for resellers. Seller Board's new reseller workflow scans products in the store with the mobile app instantly. You can check out your profit potential, add items to your buy list, build offers, print labels, manage inbound FBA shipments, all while Seller Board keeps the profit tracking accurate at every step. For just $15 a month and 2 months free trial, go to Seller Board's website here, silentjim.com/numbers. It's the only way to get the 2 months free, silentjim.com/numbers. There'll be a link in the show notes as well. Understand your numbers today with Seller Board, the accurate profit analytics software. Let's get back to today's episode. And Amazon is just so much more consistent in their policies and their enforcement of those policies. You talk about some of the bundle drama. New sellers don't have to worry about that. Amazon's clear on what they do and don't want in bundles now. It's clear. So yeah, you can't do that anymore. It's clear. No more guessing. So I think people coming in new now have an advantage over some of that guessing and gray area that we had to deal with, 5, 7, 10, 12 years ago. Yeah. Would you agree with that things feel like they're just running on smoother rails now in regards to Amazon from your perspective?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think new people starting out, I mean, they don't know what they don't know, which
Mm-hmm.
in some ways is a benefit. They're not bringing this baggage in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I still remember all the grief I got in 2018.
Right.
Got to kind of forget all that stuff eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. Unlearning the past misconceptions is a lot of what we have to do. I would almost rather have someone who's completely green, completely new, has never done anything. I can teach them so much faster how to build a great business than the person who says, well, yeah, I've been doing this for 15 years and it's just, can't do retail arbitrage anymore because I heard blah, blah. And like, oh my goodness, just shut off all that noise, follow this proven path. And it's a beautiful system. So congrats to you on being able to turn off the noises and the voices in your head saying, oh, what are you doing? Giving it a third shot.
yeah, I'm getting pretty good at starting over.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So how are you? How are your numbers? Talk about, now that you've got 3P Mercury, you've got how many ASINs did you say? Approximately
How
30,000?
many eighths in 3P Mercury? 32,000, I think.
32,000, and you're finding about 1,000 a month, you said. So how's business now? Break it down for me.
Well, I'm gonna come up just shy of $30,000 in sales for this month,
Hmm.
which is about what my high water mark was pre-COVID. And
Nice.
that's where I thought I'd probably stop, but I'm not stopping. I mean, it's it's gotten so much easier that there's really no reason to stop. So I'm actually buying inventory at the rate that I should hit 60,000 in December. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward to
Congratulations.
that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're on a bullish upward trajectory with this model.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I put the systems in place now. I've got a prep center I just cut over a couple months ago, and they uh, they actually work with 3P Mercury.
Hmm.
So all
Oh,
I
I
got to
know.
do is buy stuff, create a purchase order, and I'm done.
Yeah,
They check
exactly.
it in, they do all that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. I've got a couple of VAs now.
Mm.
I contracted with actually with Nathan's group of VAs. I don't remember what he calls that service. Account
Yeah,
management.
the account management service. Yeah.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
they're monitoring your account health and any day-to-day red flags. They'll bring it to your
Yes.
attention, keeping things nice, clean, tight. So yeah, we're really doing everything we can to turn this into a hands-free. Your primary decision is how much money do I want to put into this machine that's turning $1 into $1.25? How much money do I want to put into it? That's your decision. Beyond that, everything else can be systemized and automated once you've got the system built.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your daily routine now? Now that you've got the virtual assistants, you got the prep center, are you still doing the shopping yourself?
Yeah. I do all that myself. Karen, my wife, used to be with me to do prep work, but we don't do much prep work anymore. So
Mhm.
she's actually off overseas in Korea. She's a Korean native, and she's actually taking some grad school courses. She's coming back next week finally. So yeah, life got a lot easier. I mean, I get up when I get up, and I probably do, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours of sourcing maybe. Some days it's really quick, some days it's not quite as quick, but I generally run out of money before I run out of time.
When you say sourcing, you're talking about buying.
Now I'm talking about buying, yeah.
Buying the ASINs that 3P has recommended for you.
Yes, yeah, because you
Right.
still got to do the due diligence.
Yeah.
You still got to
Yeah.
look at and make sure that what Amazon's selling, I can really sell, because you never know, they might have gated me yesterday.
Sure. Yeah. You got to do a quick spot check, make sure it's still legit.
Got to still spot check, yeah.
Mhm. Make sure
And it also, 3P Mercury will give me an ASIN. I'll go look at it. I'll go look at the source, and then something will distract me. I'll probably go down a trail. Oh, look at this. There's something else on sale.
right. You're shopping for your ASINs and doing a little bit of sourcing research at the same time. Yeah, spending a
Right.
little bit of time on it because you
Yep.
can, because you have the option. Do you happen to know your net margins by any chance off the top of your head?
Well, right now they're pretty skinny actually, because I took on all this overhead just in the last 2 months. So, most of the overhead I took on is fixed. So as I grow, it's going to get better. They're in the single digits now. I suspect by Christmas time they'll be 12 or 13%.
Yeah, yeah. So without all those fixed costs,
Yeah,
those one-time expenses that
yeah.
you're kind of improving your operation, what would you expect that your net margins would be at?
12 to 15 probably.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that is a nice business that you've got within arm's reach of being complete autopilot, scaling soon to, you said, you've got the inventory to have a $60,000 December. That's nice. That's a nice income stream, man. What's that? Nine at 15% at nine would be what, $9,000 of net profit in the bank when it's all
Yeah,
said and done.
sounds
So
about right.
yeah,
My math
not
skills aren't all that good,
not
but
bad.
yeah,
Not bad. Well,
yeah. There's a lot to look forward to. We're trying to build this up hopefully to $1 million sometime next year, or
yeah,
it'd be about 80 grand a month.
yep.
If I hit 60 in December, 80 grand isn't really all that far away.
No,
And
No,
well, we
we say if you can hit 10, that's the benchmark. If you get 10,000 a month in sales, you can hit any other number you want, assuming you've got the cash flow to do it, buying the products that it's recommending. And I'm making the observation too. I think I already mentioned this to you. We talked offline here not too long ago that I'm starting to notice a trend where the number of ASINs you have in 3P Mercury is kind of the bottom level floor of what your monthly sales are likely to be. So if you've got 10,000 ASINs in 3P Mercury, I would expect to see a minimum of $10,000 a month in sales from that account, maybe significantly more, but approximately. So you've got 30,000 ASINs and you're finding them hundreds at a time, up 1,000 a month, you said, which is kind of where you're at, right?
mhm.
So as that number climbs, that's going to be the new floor of kind of the cruise control baseline that you can expect. So you add 1,000 more ASINs, that's $1,000 more dollars in sales per month that are just going to be autopilot available to you, assuming you keep the cash flow rolling and keep the machine churning, turning a dollar into $1.25 or $1.15 in your case, right? That's the plan. So yeah, you're on a great trajectory. It's exciting. So what else do you have planned besides this? Growing this?
Well, my wife and I love to travel. We were overseas twice already this year, so we want to travel while we still can.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a little older, all of a sudden that whole idea is, I don't want to take a cruise in a wheelchair.
Yeah, right.
We want to be able to go anywhere. I mean, I just came back from Korea a couple of weeks ago. She and I were there. She stayed a while longer, and I came back. But I did this business over there. I just went into a coffee shop, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and
Business in your pocket. That's what we
I
call
just
it.
bought what I needed to. I brought my laptop with me,
Mm-hmm.
and everything just flowed along since I didn't have to prep anything.
Yeah, where you live does not matter.
Yeah.
Exactly
And
right. Well done. Well, you've built an incredible business. I'm so glad you came back for round three.
I am too. I am too.
Yeah, and I think what you've shared today is going to encourage a lot of folks as well to take this seriously and maybe set aside some of the misconceptions or some of the disappointments they may have had in the past doing different strategies. This is a completely different animal that we're talking about here. And you've articulated it very well for folks. Well, I'm curious, Bob, if there's anything else on your mind that you were hoping to share or any questions for me today. I think you've very brilliantly and articulately shared exactly what your experience has been. And I appreciate that. But was there anything else you were hoping to get into today or anything else on your mind? The
Well,
floor is yours.
I'm just starting the brand new path. I'm going to be a coach here pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's right. I should have known that. Yes. Well, welcome aboard, man. Well, you
Yeah.
know what? I can tell you it's been a while since I did this. You'll probably have a call scheduled with me here at some point where I welcome you aboard as a coach. That's my role now. I used to do all the recruiting and training, and now oh, really? They're a new coach. Awesome. I can't wait to meet them. And I have a short phone call, but we can do that right now if you want.
Sure.
Hit the highlights. I mean, there may be some stuff we talk about offline, like, what do you got to do to get paid and all that, but, we won't cover that now, but just philosophically, there's really only two things that I share with coaches at the point that you've made it through the process, because you've already demonstrated, Bob, that you're familiar with our systems. You've built a successful business using those systems, and you've got a teacher's heart, and you're capable of articulating and bringing someone else along on that journey. Those are the basic requirements. You've already demonstrated all of that. So the two things that I typically share with all of our coaches as they come on board is, one, this isn't a one-man show. You're not responsible for the success of your students. In other words, you're not solely responsible. You've got a whole team backing you up. Every student gets my cell phone number. You've got your team leaders that you report to who are above you that can come in and help. You've got there's over 100 of us on the leadership team around here. If you get in over your head, you can always go to them and say, hey, I'm a little over my head with this client and the challenge they're facing. Who can help? So you've got this unimaginably intelligent resource behind you that's comprised of a whole bunch of people way smarter than me that can help with anything. I mean, we've been doing, to answer something you brought up earlier, you weren't sure when we started coaching. We've been doing e-commerce coaching over 20 years at this point. To my knowledge, we're the longest running e-commerce coaching company in the world. It's been under my name for well over 2 decades. And Nate's been with me the whole time that you referenced earlier. We love what we do and we're very good at it, but you've got that whole team supporting you. And for people who are listening to me explain this to Bob and they're considering coaching, that goes for you too. You've got a team, not just one coach. And the other thing I like to point out is this whole system, and I think the reason that it's survived for 2 decades, there's several factors that go into that. We stay creative, we stay cutting edge, we're always trying new things and experimenting and bringing the best ideas to the community. But I don't think that's what's given us the longevity. I think it's contributed. I think what's given us longevity is the second point that I always point out to new coaches, and that's this: we're relational, meaning every bit as important as the content and the training you're going to be delivering to your students is the relationship you establish with them. Truly getting involved in what's going on that's preventing them from getting over that next hill. It could be a challenge in their family. They got a kid that's really sick. It could be, who knows what challenges they're facing. It's really getting in and with empathy and with encouragement and pushing them a little uncomfortably at times to take those next steps. And then that, almost like that, that great coach you had when you were a kid, like they made you uncomfortable, but you appreciated them for that and the relationship that develops out as a result. We're very intentional about that. So build a relationship with these people.
Yeah.
Many of us call it a ministry because of that. Like we care about more than just, hey, what's your numbers look like last quarter? How are you doing? How's this impacting your life? Right? How are your relationships? How's your health? That kind of thing. I think, because it's not possible for me to develop those kind of relationships anymore. We used to be small enough I could. I can't now. But we need those people kind of in the trenches, truly caring for the people who have said, hey, you know what? I'm going to put some trust in your organization. I'm going to invest in myself and in the coach. That relationship then becomes vital. So that's my pep talk. That's it. That's what I usually go. There's two things. You've got a team helping you. This is a very relational thing that we're doing here. So welcome aboard.
Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'll certainly take advantage of that. I'm not at all shy, so I need to anytime there's something that I need,
Yeah.
I'll absolutely reach
Yeah.
out.
I can tell you're very comfortable talking, presenting your ideas, thinking out loud. Some people are mortified, nervous, hopping on a podcast, and you're just like, hey, here's what happened. Here's what I'm doing. And remind me again, I don't remember what you did in your previous career.
I sold mainframe software, Fortune 500
Yeah,
companies.
that's right. You mentioned that at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah, you were that's where our worlds kind of overlapped. I was selling the software and licensing, and you were selling the hardware. And yeah, working for companies making 2% net margin and trying to pay everybody with it. Yep. 90s tech was a tough gig, man.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember closing these like, $3-4 million deals, and everyone was like, "Whoa, you sold a $4 million Microsoft contract? That must be awesome!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I made like $1,500." Yeah, so it was not a game for the faint of heart for sure.
No, and you were making somebody else's dream come true.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's what lit this fire under me. I was seeing all these people making money, providing value and creating services in this arena. And I'm like, I got to build my own thing here in this arena. That's what lit a fire under me. And yeah, it's been 2 decades plus ago. And one of the best decisions, getting fired from Microsoft was easily the best day of my entire career.
Even though it didn't seem like it at the time, I'm sure.
No, it was a little nerve-wracking at the time. And you mentioned the Silent Sales Machine book earlier. I'll stick a link so people can get that for free in the notes, but I cover that just a little bit in the book as well. But all right, well, Bob, it's been great hanging out with you, man. Anything else on your mind that you want to go into or bring up before we wrap things up?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
I think we did as well. And I think you're going to be a great resource to a lot of good people in our community. And appreciate you sticking around and being a part of this group for so long. And I'm glad to see you taking steps closer to the core of what we do around here. That's exciting for me. And congrats on your wife coming back, man. How long's she been gone?
6 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
test, man. That's tough. Yeah, so you're looking forward to that. That's great. You go meet her at the
Yeah.
airport, get one of those big old goofy signs and some balloons or something, right? So,
Might have to clean out the house here before she gets back.
oh, time to start cleaning. Hope she's not listening. He kept it clean the whole time. We promise.
Yeah, that's right. All
All right, Bob. It's great hanging out with you, buddy.
right, Jim.
Let me talk to the listeners for just a second. If you hung out with Bob and I today and got some value from this, got some encouragement from this, I've got some good news for you. We have hundreds of episodes like this that we've recorded. We've got over 1,000 podcast episodes, and the vast majority of them are success story interviews with our students. So if you found yourself encouraged and motivated, there's a whole lot more where that came from. Just scroll back in time and keep listening to our shows. A little tip: if you're a listener and a fan of our show, listen to the new episodes as they come out. There's quite often some time-sensitive information that we're conveying in our shows, and this is one of the primary ways that we communicate that information to our community. So stay up to date by listening to the new stuff as it comes out. But as time allows, scroll back in time. You're going to hear some incredible stories, hundreds of interviews with great people like Bob who have built beautiful businesses. They're there to encourage and inspire you. And we're so glad you came along with us today for today's episode. We're going to cut this one off here. We have more good stuff for you coming very soon. God bless you, business building warrior. We'll talk to you again soon. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I've got one last announcement. It's a thank you to our sponsor today, Seller Board. You can find them at silentjimdotcom/numbers. Hey, seller, if you want to know your true profits, Seller Board tracks every fee, refund, the shifting cost of goods, plus a full reseller workflow. Everything from scanning in store to shipping your FBA shipments. Pricing starts as little as $15. And if you use the link I gave you, you get 2 months of a free trial. Get started at silentjim.com/numbers. Thanks for listening today. We'll have another great episode for you very soon.